Good afternoon, or good evening. It is Friday. So let's get back to work. So we've been working towards this visual target goal for quite a while here, and that's what we're going to keep doing. The big thing right now is I want to get some effects for water, things that we can throw on here, and I'm trying to do some sort of shore ripple effect. So as usual, we will just make sure we have everything compiled up before we actually run it. So we're working with a lot of the materials, trying to figure out, because I'm not a graphics engineer, but that doesn't mean we can't, use dead reckoning to figure out what we're doing. Alright. So one of the things I was working on was I got kind of a shore effect that's just like some basic noise. I'm gonna have to wake up. So yeah, yesterday we basically had some crappy noise that we had thrown on here, and what I want to do is I want to replace this effect with something else. So like we have this noise over here, which is, it's not very good, but I want to have a separate effect in the calmer area, and I want to be able to kind of transition between those. So how am I going to do that? Yeah, we call this the shore trash. Yeah, that means we have very high opinions of this material. Alright. So we had was our rough shore edge distance. So we have kind of our edge distance. I gotta figure out what even I was doing. Material stuff can be kind of hard to organize at times. So let's see. We've got this. Does it fade out properly? So I gotta figure out what I'm actually working on here and what sort of things I've got to work with. Yes, this is just a small bit of noise which is happening. Alright, that's not bad. Alright, so what I'm looking for is a couple different effects that can be applied based on the magnitude thing I've got here. It's basically where this is white, we want one effect, and where it's gray, we want another. So what exactly are we looking for? Well, I'm kind of looking for this surface noise opacity effect to kind of take over otherwise. Hello, Chris Koga 2. What is up? I'm continuing to work on some of this shore water shading stuff. And what I basically want is I want this surface effect, but I think I only want it around the shore. So we've got like, I guess one effect, and then we have another. Gosh, I'm trying to think about how I would apply this. I mean, we could just layer it. Yes, the former CC, I'll be working on water forever. We're gonna cancel the game and just work on water. Alright, so we've got this going on. I think basically what we want to do is have a magnitude that we remap this from. So it's basically like when this is greater than a certain value, I want it to be 1 or 0. Yeah, I expect me to not be an expert. I expect me to be, as I would say, not complete trash. Hopefully. So I'm going to plug in, let's see, what's this value? This value is this. Alright, so we're going to do this value. So what we're going to do is if this value is greater than 0.2, otherwise it's going to be 0. And then I guess we'll want to remap this value. And we're going to remap it from... Alright, so the low value is going to be 0.2. The high value is going to be 1. And then we're going to take this from 0 to 1. So we'll remap that, and we should be able to increase this, so we can actually get rid of everything. You're rough drafting your stage. Sounds like fun. Getting some stuff rolling along. Alright, so that is what I'm looking for. I think I'm going to have to clamp this value. Sometimes it's hard to see exactly what's going on this texture, but it looks like it's definitely working when it's in the world here. Alright, cool. So this will be rough shore effect threshold. Alright, so this will be rough shore effect. Alright, so what we need to do basically is then we want this other effect, this like, we've got surface noise, but then we also want some sort of effect for the shore along which things are calm. So I have to figure out what effect I actually need for that. So we'll make a new little area here. We'll call it the calm shore edge. Alright, so what we're going to want here is to do a 1 minus on this thing. It should be the opposite. So basically we have A and B, and A is greater than, then we do that, otherwise we do this. And we want to remap the low value here should be a constant 0, and then the high should be the short effect threshold. So you go from 0 to 1. So this is always a 1 mask in there, which is, I think, correct. Basically, it's just like a steady state magnitude that we've got there. If we put this to 0.2, we might get some more variation. Yeah. Alright, so this is the calm shore edge distance. If I spelled distance properly. Alright, so default value is 1. We can change this to smaller values, like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. We could do something like that. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have all the right tricks and techniques for water stuff. Probably a lot more people. There are people much more capable than I on those subjects. I'm just kind of muddling through it. The big thing here is even if there's, better information, for some of this stuff I just need to go learn how it works. That way I can actually fix and identify problems when or if they occur. So what exactly do I want for this? Like, I've got my mask, I believe, for like where this thing can occur. Maybe I need to clamp this from 0 to 1. Alright, so this should basically find the distance from shore. So this is going to be the distance. I want to know if the distance is less than a certain value. So this is going to go from 0 to 1. So what we want it to do is we want to subtract from it, I believe. We want it to do like 1 minus this value, which is, so it's going to go from 1 to 0. So we'll do this value, and then if we subtract from it a certain value, so if you subtract like 0.1, it's always remapping stuff here. So we go from 0 to 1, and I want basically everything from 0 to x to be remapped from 0 to 1, with everything greater than it being canceled out. So I guess we have to do another if. Alright. So if this is greater than the value, then we're going to do a 0, otherwise we will use it itself. Yeah, that's true. Alright, let's see. Alright, so that's going to take us from 0 to x, basically. We're going to go from 0 to 0.9, but we need to remap that, I think. If we remap this value from 0 to 9, from 0 to 9 to 0 to 1, I think this is what this will do. So we should go from 0 to 1. And then I guess we want to go from if we then want to take this from 0 to 1, and we want to take it from, what, 0 to 1 to 0? Well, we multiply by 2, subtract 1. No, we want to go from 0, it's 0 to 2. No, it's, if we do 1 minus, it goes from 1 to 0. It's 0, 1, 2. If we then subtract 1 from that, it goes from -1 to 0 to 1. We take the absolute value. So that's the absolute value. I'm going to do 1 minus. So that goes from 0 to 1 to 0 smoothly. Based on our distance. Interesting that we can get any of these sorts of effects on here. This would be artifacts of some of our remap functionality. Hmm. Yeah, so I guess we need something like 0.4 on there. And then when we do this remap, it can actually do a few things. This needs to be a 1 minus right here, I believe. We need to fill in the zeros here with a 1, or we need to do something else. Because what I want is this should be 1, this should be 0. Hello, Kento456. Yeah, I'm still working on water material stuff and learning more about how to construct, how to deal with numbers in pixel shaders. It's going about as well as you'd expect. So we've got this effect, we're basically clamping it to a value. I mean, basically I want to negate this thing. So as we do this, it's basically if this value is, when you swap these things, so let's see, we have like 0.5, 0.6. It's hard to see exactly, but it looks like it's going from 1 to 0. Alright, I need to get my head back into this. This is the opposite, and basically what we want to do is we want to say everything that's less than a certain value is going to be turned into 0. So that's that. And then so it goes from like 1 to like 0.6. We need to take that from 1 to, from 0.6 to 1, and we need to map that from 0 to 1. So the low one is going to be this value, the high one is going to be 1, and then we map that from 0 to 1. Like that. Alright, so that all blended out, it looks like. We've actually got a blend on it. So now we can apply a separate effect to the calmer areas of our water along the shore. We did it. We figured out all the cookie cutters to use to cut out our cookies. Now we gotta figure out what the hell we're doing. So what sort of effect do we want? I don't know. I'm thinking I just basically want this surface noise, calm surface noise effect. maybe we want to pull a page from Adam's book. Adam has a Voronoi noise shader thing. And I think he just had them come past each other. So we're going to have a calm shore texture object, which is going to be this noise stuff. Let's make sure we can actually save our material here. Yeah, that's one thing that I need to make sure I actually do. So let's check out these files so we can actually save all of them. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this texture here and I'm going to pan them past each other. So we're going to have two different textures. So we'll take our texture coordinate here, we'll take our time, we'll get a, I'm going to call this calm shore noise speed, and I guess we're going to multiply things by this and then feed it in. So we've got kind of our cookie cutter mask that we're going to use here, and then we're going to make our actual effect. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take time, we're going to multiply it by a speed, and then we're going to have two textures that are moving in opposite directions of each other. We'll just try 2, and then maybe we'll try 4. So this one will be the straight normal X. This one will be we're adding the Y. And that's going to be our color. We'll be like, we'll take these and we'll multiply it by color. So this will be our calm shore water color. So we'll multiply this color by this value. Or should we multiply those things two together first and then multiply that by the color? So if we preview this, kind of the calm shore speed stuff looks kind of like this. And then we multiply that by the color. So we get something that looks like that. we'll see what it looks like. Just answering some messages. So we've got our shore color, and we multiplied it out, so we got our actual color, and then we've got our cookie cutter thing here. Multiply those together, we can combine the effects. So the water would kind of look like this, supposedly. Let's see what that even looks like in the real fake world. Alright, so what we want to do is, oh god, what is it? I think we want to add the color in here. How do we actually want to do this? Why don't we just try and add? Alright, so we'll have something we can use to turn this effect on and off. We'll multiply it out. And then I guess we'll add it to our color that we've got going on here. Set this to 1. I wish there was an easier way to kind of set up these reroute nodes so stuff was a little bit segmented off. So let's see, what is this starting to look like? We've got these calmer areas which we're adding in colors, and looks like stuff's getting kind of screwed up. It's like we're adding in negative colors to parts of this. Which is why this opacity stuff is all sorts of screwy. Let's see if we can do a clamp here. Okay, so we're no longer adding negative colors. Alright, let's try messing around with some of these edge variables. So it's giving us the entire area coverage. Well, instead of adding in the color, maybe we should multiply in the color. Or do some sort of lerp. What would this even be for a lerp? Like we're adding in the shore ripple color. Like all this stuff here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's really doing a whole heck of a lot. Alright, well what we can at least do here is we can change the size of the noise on this. So we can make these texture coordinates kind of bigger or smaller. Let's see if it's just the clashing of colors that makes things look weird. It looks like it, actually. It's kind of doing what we want. But I don't really like how the edge is looking. It's like the fade off into the edge. I don't really want that. I want it to go that goes from 0 to 1. I think I just want to do like 1 minus. Let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm not sure about the edge stuff. It's not looking like what I really want it to. And what I don't like is that it's too close. Like, we do need an edge effect, but this is not it. This is more of a whole lake effect, is what it looks like. Well, it's looking okay otherwise. The question is, do we need to improve how these things are moving? These ripples. I don't like that they have a direction on them. Maybe if instead of adding, we subtract. Let's just add a whole like 4 different texture lookups here because I just want to know what it looks like. Alright, so we want the X to go through a subtract phase for this guy. And we want the Y to go through a subtract phase on this one. Wish there was a little bit easier way to organize all this stuff. Probably is. I can probably like make functions and all that sort of stuff. It's just I don't know if what I'm doing will make the effect I want. So it's one of those things. I could spend a whole bunch of time doing stuff, but I don't know if it'd be worth anything. Well, it's certainly non-directional. See if it looks anywhere near decent or if it just looks like garbage. Garbage. Well, let's try a different phase. Alright, so this is the Y, and this is the X.